What is going on, guys and girls? It is GhostRobo. Welcome to the podcast for the week of April the 20th. Hope you guys are all doing well. Who is joining me today?
I have no idea. Who is it?
Me neither.
Oh.
I don't know. Jake?
Is
Jake?
this our third podcast now?
I think this is our third one. Yeah, we had a little week hiatus, but we are back in the saddle with a bunch of good stuff. There has been tons of news on lots of upcoming games lately, and we're also adding in a little what we've been playing segment. But before we get to that, I wanted to bring up some sad news that I don't know if you know, Scott, but
What's this sad news?
I wanted to tell you that Sucker Punch revealed the reward for the paper trail missions.
Yeah, I've seen this actually.
Oh my god. Everyone was expecting like a new power for Infamous Second Son. We saw this crazy paper conduit. It looks so awesome, like these, origami cranes, gorgeous visually, and then they tweet that the rewards are 4 custom Delson jackets.
Oh, I've got like 50 million jackets. I got like you get a new jacket every time you do one of those.
Are you kidding me? I don't want to play dress up. This isn't The Sims.
No.
And they said, quote, paper power would have been cool. Creating a new power set requires a lot of time. Hope you enjoy the free content and new bonus items.
Just go left. What?
Okay, so this means one of two things. Either one, there was never any intention on expanding the power set. It's way too complicated, and it would mess with the whole structure of the game, because not only are there animations for Delson, but the way that the other enemies react in the world probably, or they are going to sell it to us in DLC format in a few months.
They won't. They're just gonna leave it now. I think they
think
may
so?
release some like story DLC, but I can't imagine them bringing new powers now at this point.
After they say this, the paper trail was so involved. It was like a really cool thing. You have to mix online. Sometimes it was cool.
It was quite tedious in my opinion. It's like I had to go on my computer like looking for these silly little
clues. It was a cool
clues,
idea.
and then it had a premise perhaps if it's actually within the game. To like click on your phone or something. I don't know.
Perhaps if there was a reward that wasn't 4 jackets and a mask.
What's the mask? Got a mask for? Oh, does it get like the mask?
I think it's the rabbit paper bunny mask thing.
Woo!
Which I guess that's kind of whatever. But at this point, most people have beaten the game. So are they really gonna want to continue through this just to get a new jacket change? Like, how often are you even looking at Delson's back? Come on.
Well, you look at it quite a bit.
At the powers.
Well, you do see the coat quite a bit, but you get so many coats throughout the game. It's just pointless.
Speaking of coats, Batman has a new suit in this new DLC that you've been playing.
Yes.
Tell me about it. I'm very curious because I liked Arkham Origins. Even though it's not everyone's favorite, I still thought it was a great Batman game, and more Batman is typically always a good thing.
So basically, this takes place after the main Origins game finishes. So you then jump into like it basically goes back. So you finish on I think Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, and this jumps to like New Year's Eve. And Mr. Freeze has gone a little bit crazy with Mr. Penguin, and basically. It's just like the initial time you have with Mr. Freeze, so it's the first time you sort of actually get together. Up. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it's just more Batman, which is perfectly fine by me. But they basically close off certain areas, keep it quite confined with sort of environment. You know. But you get new powers, you get new batarangs and stuff, so it's pretty cool. And the suit's quite epic.
Now, does it feel really fleshed out? Because there was some. They touted all these assassins in Arkham Origins, and it felt like some of them were full-on missions, and then some were just random side stuff you could skip. Like, you'd wander into a mansion and be like, oh, there's one of the assassins, and track him down. Does this feel more like a real story set-piece type thing than that?
It does. You got to build like drills and stuff to get to the next area, and there's like certain codes you need to find and stuff. But generally, it's got the main story, and you've got a few little side stuff to do, like with the Anarchy guy. But yeah, it's pretty much just the same story running with sort of Mr. Freeze. I think you do sort of emphasise with Mr. Freeze quite a bit because he's just trying to like get his wife back, and I quite like that story because it's just him trying to get his wife back and save her in some way.
So it sounds pretty cool. Now, without spoilers, is the inevitable fight with Mr. Freeze cool? Because that was most people's like favorite part of Arkham City was that Mr. Freeze battle. That's my most memorable moment in that game. Does it pan out just as good here?
I think so, yeah. I think it's a really good fight, actually. It was actually quite difficult because you have, like, not to admit too much, but you have, like, enemies coming in, like normal enemies, and you've got to try and fight Mr. Freeze. Obviously, he's got his ability, but, yeah, it's a good little fight. And, I mean, generally, the DLC was good. I had a few problems with it. My game had a corrupted save, which you know about.
Oh, God.
And it froze once, but the DLC is about hour and 40 minutes, which isn't that long either.
Mm-hmm. It'd be nice. It's what, $10?
Yeah, or £8. So
okay,
yeah, it's not too pricey, but it's a reasonable price. I think it's just about the right price considering the volume of the game.
Yeah, 90 minutes sounds about right for for $10. So it's thumbs up from you then, it sounds like.
If you like Batman, definitely get more. If you don't, if you got fed up with Batman, I would wait for Arkham Knight, I think. But I love Batman. I like the game, so more of it was good for me.
Sweet. Have you been playing anything else then?
I've been playing Trials Fusion.
Yes,
I know you've been checking out. Me and you've been trying to beat each other's times a little bit.
Yeah, that's really fun. I know there's no like strict online mode, but just seeing your little name like bounce up and down the hills drives me absolutely crazy. It'll be like 12:30 a.m. and I should be sleeping. I'm like, I have to beat his time. And what's crazy is like, because it's not your bike, I can't tell what you're doing. So I'm like, okay, clearly he cheated right here because there's no way to do this ramp any faster.
You do that with me though. So you at the start, you just randomly just speed off. I'm like, what? I was right next to you. I need to just go away. I was like, damn it.
I'm like thrashing the stick back and forth. You know how if you like lean back and then forward, you get that little like
bunny hop,
little tiny hop, and I'm like, go faster. But Trials Fusion, I've heard a lot of mixed things. You know, I'm only about halfway through the game, and I know you're a lot farther.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're at this point just recycling and it's not really evolving? I kind of liked it when it was back in the warehouse and it had this very, I don't know, gritty feel, and now it just feels like they've really, I don't know, almost mainstreamified it.
Doesn't feel very indie anymore. Is that the right? I guess it doesn't. It feels more like a AAA game now. But I think if you like Trials, you're going to like it. But I mean, generally, it hasn't moved on much. It just feels like it's a more prettier version with a few different customization options and a few different bikes. But generally, it feels like the next Trials game in like a sequel. It's not much difference, to be honest.
To me, I mean, I still like the core gameplay. The gameplay itself hasn't really changed much. Do the tricks add much? I haven't even gotten there, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, I don't know why the tricks aren't unlocked at the start, because they sort of publicise
that was their big feature.
Yeah, in the trailers and stuff. It's like, oh, you can do tricks, and they don't let you do them until like the second lot of stages, which is weird. But the tricks are like, I mean, they change up a little bit, but again, it's just like you just quickly do the analog stick a bit, and you do like a trick, and it's hard to sort of. You have to like get a combo going and stuff, so you got to get.
What is the point of them? I've never understood. Like, why are you doing these tricks? Is it just to add points to your?
Yeah, you got to get like 40,000 points to get a gold. That's pretty much.
Oh, it's like a separate event. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Okay,
yeah.
I understand. I think my issue, and this is probably the shared issue with the game, is that Trials started off as like a pretty darn hardcore, difficult game, and it seems like over every iteration, it gets more and more goofy, and like that song on the title screen drives me.
Oh, really?
Crazy.
I like it, actually.
Dude.
Yeah. I started singing to
like, man, machine, future. Like, I don't know, but just the squirrel thing, the robot voice, to me, it feels like it's gotten focus group to death or something. I don't know. Like, some of the costumes now, I don't know. Did you play the original Trials, like the PC ones?
Yeah, to death. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the lack of multiplayer. I used to play multiplayer quite a bit with friends and stuff, and that's just gone. I mean, they're just like taking a feature out, which makes no sense. They should be adding on features, not taking features out, which makes. When games do that, I'm like, what you doing, man? What are you doing?
Oh, and this is the most expensive one yet, too, which.
Yeah, it's quite, because they include the pass, don't they?
Right. So
it's like $14.99 for like just the game, and then another like full price title again on top of that to get the season pass included.
I believe it's $20 actually here. I want to say it's $20
for the game. Yeah, $14.99 over here. So yeah,
but it's more Trials, and for me, I've been playing more Plants vs Zombies. That's about it on my own time. Besides the series that I've got going on, I really like Plants vs Zombies, and I was trying to think this morning about like what is it about that game that I love so much? Is it the fact that it's very like fun and lighthearted? Is it the fact that you can never really do perfect? I think what it boils down to is like it's so visually appealing and so I never find myself mad. Like sure I get frustrated if I die over and over again, but it's such a good back and forth where nobody is going like 30-0 and there really isn't even an emphasis on that. It's more about protecting the bases or trying to get as many cool kills as you can, utilizing the abilities. They just have it tuned almost perfectly, I think.
I like how they don't focus on deaths as well in that game, where I feel like if I get enough kills and if I die a lot, that doesn't really matter. It just counts on the amount of kills I get. But I mean, generally the art style looks amazing. I think it just looks like a fun game. I like how the fact that like Garden Ops is challenging as well. It's not easy, is it? I like that as well.
Haven't beaten it. On hard.
We have this in secret though.
But the it almost is like where Call of Duty or like more quote mature rated shooters should go. They always want people to focus more on the objectives, focus more on the team play, and everybody's like, no, I'm just going for the KD ratio. Here, because they eliminate that almost, you are focused on how can I contribute? How can I get more points? How can I build turrets? How can I protect the base? And it seems like by rewarding players with coins for contributing in different ways, they've even added in this new update a new kind of assist for every character. So the All-Star has suppression assists. As long as you're firing in the general direction of an enemy, you can pick up 25 coins for suppressing that enemy. The Chomper has assists for gooping them and slowing them down. Like, they're really smart about incentivizing you to play the objective instead of just playing like, oh, I'm going to go 20-0 and get my kill streak, because it's not even in the game.
There's so many times where like you've healed more, but I've killed like a lot more than you. I like how they just seem to reward you for doing the objective stuff and just giving you coins. They seem to want you to focus on getting coins, getting the rewards, and obviously purchasing the packs of cards, whatever you call them.
I think it is super brilliant, and I cannot wait to see. I mean, I've been playing it for 2 straight months now, and I don't see it stopping anytime soon. Other than that, I have dabbled a little bit in Trials, and I'm most excited for. I'm getting Mario Golf World Tour on 3DS and Kirby Triple Deluxe, I think it's called, on 3DS this weekend. So
what's the Triple Deluxe about? Why is it with that?
I don't know. Kirby has 3 arms this time.
Sounds like some sort of biscuit or something.
The Triple Deluxe Kirby biscuit, is that what they serve over at what's that place that you keep telling me I have to go? Nando's? Is that the name of it?
That's chicken.
Is it just chicken, like straight?
It's just chicken, pretty much. Yeah.
Just chicken, like no water, no
signs. There's other stuff, but I mean the chicken's the main. It's like Portuguese chicken, so it's like slightly spicy. But you can get like a lemon and herb one as well, which is nice. But anyway, you did mention Call of Duty quickly, so I thought I'd mention it very, very briefly. But they released their first. A very, very, very teaser image of one character. Have you seen it yet?
I have. It's very epic.
It's like
epic in quotes.
In quotes, yeah. I mean, it's literally just a guy. It looks like it's going to be. Apparently, people recognize him from the Modern Warfare games. Okay. It seems like it's going down that route, but yeah, I thought we'd just mention it briefly. There's been an initial image of the new Call of Duty game. Apparently, they're focusing more on next gen, but they are going to release it for like every console as well. So.
Right, and it's not clear if they're going to do like the Assassin's thing of like, a next-gen version and a last-gen version, or just more focus on the next-gen. I think people were a little burned on Ghost. So, but Scott, like with this image, does this kind of stuff even excite you in the least anymore? Like, it could be complete BS. Like, yay, you can render one character not moving in a still image. Like, congratulations.
I don't know, if they put Fallout 4 image, I'll just... Run around.
Crazy. Yeah. So I guess it is a little bit biased based on what game it is. But
well, it's not released every year, and I haven't played Fallout 3.
That is true. Yeah. Just from a graphical standpoint, I'm kind of sick and tired of what they're doing. You know, we've had the Watch Dogs downgrade. I mean, even stuff like Dragon Age, I see that trailer, and it makes me really worried. Like, it looks super cool. Dragon Age Inquisition coming out. They announced
good as well.
A date October 7th, but it's like, is that how the game is going to look in 5 months? We haven't seen a straight gameplay video. And so to throw out this like singular Call of Duty image, like, yay, get people excited, there's a new Call of Duty, but man.
I'm just worried that this year, at the end of this year, it's going to be Battlefield, FIFA, Assassin's Creed. It's just like, oh, god damn it.
Oh, it is. We're in this like almost sickening cycle of like every game is repeating, and that happens, I think, a lot with a new generation, but that can't just be the only excuse, because it's happened the last like 3 years. And Dragon Age is exciting to me because when have we had, what was the last big like story-focused, character-focused, real like RPG, major game? Mass Effect 3 was a little bit divisive, but still cool, and Skyrim, of course, was massive. This could be like a real showstopper, kind of almost a sleeper. It's not getting a lot of buzz, but with Witcher 3 delayed...
I like the fact that they randomly just come out of it and said, oh yeah, okay, in October, where everyone was like, when we saw that, was it initial game cover, it was like, oh, this is coming out next year. And I just like the fact that it's coming out this year. There's not much of a tease. It's like, it's coming out pretty soon. So look forward to it. And and then released like a gameplay stuff, and it looks amazing. And they seem to be focusing on next gen, which is still, I was slightly disappointed by this. I thought they were going to focus purely just on next gen like PC, but they're going to focus on also last gen as well.
Yeah, it is a cross gen game. Yeah, it seems like the only ones I can think of are what, Batman and is Alien Isolation next gen only? I believe it is.
And then you might be wrong on actually.
Oh, but, really? Well, we're gonna look this up real fast.
Okay, I'm gonna chat to myself.
what is the other one that's Evolve is next gen only?
Oh yeah. That's a surprising one. I'm sure they could easily downgrade that one, and make it into like a 360 version or something.
It is weird because it's a multiplayer only game, and it's not exclusive. So it's not like, oh, Microsoft paid them to stay Xbox One. You're right though. Alien Isolation is, man. There's like nothing that's next gen only except for Batman and Evolve. But Dragon Age, I think, will be really cool. You know, after playing Dark Souls, I kind of wish we could put Dark Souls combat into Dragon Age, like this choice-based story with this epic world and all these different races, and then insane focused combat. But it does seem like they're going, I mean, it's hard to tell from one little trailer, but it does seem like they're going a little more action-heavy rather than like the pause stuff. I know they've talked about merging the best bits of Dragon Age 1 and 2, so I think that could be a real standout title. Do you think that because they're going to be focused on this, do you think they'll mention anything about a new next-gen Mass Effect at E3?
Oh, that's a good question, actually, because it's BioWare, isn't it? So they're with the same company. So I don't think we're going to hear anything about Mass Effect yet. I think that maybe next... Oh, saying that, they are such a big studio now, isn't it? BioWare is quite big. I think it does spread over a couple of countries. So I don't know. It could.
They haven't really done... I mean, what was their last game, really? Like, what have they done since...
I've got a weird feeling that Mass Effect could be on the Xbox One first as well. I've got a weird...
Oh, you think so? Like they do an exclusive thing?
This is like a deal they done a little while ago, and perhaps they slightly regret it now because obviously the PS4 sold quite well, but it could be perhaps.
Yeah, because they've got Dragon Age 2 came out in 2011, and The Old Republic came out in 2011. Mass Effect 3 came out in 2012, and we've seen nothing from them since. So yeah, they could definitely. They've got a Star Wars game coming out, but that's definitely down the road. So they could have a big showing, and yeah, if they do Dragon Age Inquisition for everybody, and then Mass Effect 4 or Mass Effect, probably a prequel or something for Xbox One. That could be... Everybody does prequels these days. Everybody.
It's the cool thing to do, isn't it?
It's the cool thing to do. Now, going back to Evolve a little bit, it was like the standout AAA from PAX. Everybody was gushing about Evolve and how cool it looked and how awesome it was to play as the monster. A few little nitpicky things I've heard, though, that are kind of concerning. The first being that we noticed was the size of the monster. He's like, he's huge, but on screen he looks so small.
I'm guessing they must have drawn the camera back, but for some reason when you actually, the creature, it looks very small. It looks quite small on the screen. But I think we're sort of hoping it would just like be a mass on the screen, like a big mammoth monster thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like even something like Gears of War, Marcus looks bigger on screen than this monster, and perhaps they want to give you perception to be as effective as possible. And that's the concern I've heard from some people, is that this game is so focused on the monster that he basically, when played right, is winning without much contest, and everything is kind of geared towards him. He gets points to level up. The human characters do not. Once he reaches his final form, because he goes through these evolutions, he eats characters like NPC monsters on the map to sort of gain health and level up, and then can spend points in one of 4 different power areas. Okay. Once he reaches stage 3 and has the max amount of points, and the max amount of health, and max amount of armor, he then gets a side objective, like in this map that they've been showing, to go destroy a generator. And now he can win by either destroying the generator or by wiping the opposing team. And the worries that I heard were that everything is so focused on the monster, and it almost feels like the player characters, the human player characters rather, are secondary, whereas in something like Left 4 Dead, the humans were everything, and it was all about the humans and their objective, and that could create a little bit of an imbalance.
Well, perhaps I'm hoping they've heard some of this criticism at PAX, and perhaps they're going to address it in some way. But did you know when we saw that gameplay? Was that the official? Was that the perhaps phase 1 or something? Was that like doesn't he get bigger when he eats?
Yeah, he does. Stuff? He does get bigger. So perhaps that's something as well in terms of the size on screen. They need to leave him room to grow. And the solution, I think, would be to give the players that secondary objective and require the monster to kill them, because what the current situation creates is an instance where the monster doesn't even worry about the players at all. He's just going and eating things.
Well, you want the actual creature to go after.
Right. That confrontation seems like the juicy part of that game. And so, I don't know, hopefully they'll be very receptive. They seem like a cool team. And if it is releasing soon, but I'd imagine they have a little time to hopefully make some tweaks, because that one's coming out in October. Is it October, November?
October, isn't it?
I think it's October.
Yeah.
It's one of those 2 months. So they have a short cycle here, but I'm hoping that ends up being one of the cooler games of the year. It's a new IP, and it seems like it's delivering a fresh multiplayer experience. And also, just to clarify, a lot of people have been confused. There are a bunch of maps, and there are multiple monsters. It's not just that one fire-breathing, jumping Goliath guy.
Was that the press got a bit misled though, or something?
I heard from numerous other podcasts that there's only one monster. This game seems like it has to have more. I was like, no, there's there is definitely more monsters.
The thing I worry about this game though is, will it have enough like longevity like Left 4 Dead? Will I want to keep going back on there and be the players?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I guess what their hope is, because of the fact that there's multiple monsters, multiple maps, and tons of player characters, because it's not just like, one class. There's a bunch of different medics that have different loadouts. You can't really pick and choose. You have to find, a specific character, and there's a number of them, that the different permutations will keep it replayable. Because my issue with Left 4 Dead was, up until I beat the maps, like, I had tons of fun redoing them. But once I beat it, like, on hard, it was sort of like,
There was a harder difficulty, wasn't there? Wasn't there one like where you literally die in like 4 hits?
Yeah,
like...
I think there was like an insane difficulty. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the issue with some of these multiplayer. Yeah, once you complete the scenario, it's like,
I'm done.
I'm done. I mean,
Goodbye.
I suppose you could find a different group of friends or something, but did you play a bunch of Left 4 Dead?
I did, yes. Play on the 360 and also play on the PC quite a bit as well. I mean, if you had the right group of friends, I think it's quite fun, and just trying to do that, almost do that insane mode, I think it was called, and that was quite fun. But I know what you mean. Once you do level, it's sort of like over. Once you find all the little Easter eggs as well, you sort of feel like you've sort of finished the game almost. It does sort of just stop pretty quickly.
I really like I don't remember exactly what it was called. It was like the gas can mode in Left 4 Dead 2, where it was players as zombies, players as humans, and they would have to like get these gas cans and fill up vehicles or whatever.
Was it the generators? Yeah.
Generators, vehicles, something like that. But that was a really cool mode, because it had that back and forth dynamic of, okay, for one half you're the zombies, one half you're the player, and it seems like Evolve could do that kind of, but at the same time, because it's 4-on-1, it's going to be interesting, I think, to swap. Like, okay, say we're playing with a group of people. I mean, unless you have a full 5-sum.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit weird, isn't it?
Like what? Okay, 2 of you stay and then play with 2 randoms, and I'll go be the monster. Like that, it feels a bit awkward.
It's quite an awkward number. 5 is a weird number to have.
Or if there were like 2 monsters and 3 humans, maybe, or some. I don't know, just somebody feels like they're going to be left out. But what is not going to be left out of this show, never, is Watch Dogs, our weekly Watch Dogs check in here.
We're talking about costumes again.
We can't talk about costumes. Tell us about costumes.
Well, basically, I don't know much about it, to be honest, but Ubisoft has released just like basically pictures of the costumes they've included with like the pre-order stuff and
so goofy
costumes you can get in the game. You can literally buy costumes for him. It looks like some of them look like he's that weird hunter mafia dude or something. Yeah, it's very odd. But,
I mean, I'm hopeful for Watch Dogs. I really am. I'd love for it to be one of the best games this year, but it seems like we're a month out from launch, and how much gameplay have we seen?
We keep seeing leaked stuff, which looks disturbing.
Shaky.
But yeah, shaky at best.
At best. The thing I dug up that I thought was a little interesting that I didn't hear reported on any of the major sites is that it actually went through a ESRB revision. They had to resubmit the game in March and then in April, or in February and April. There was about a 2-month gap where they resubmitted the game.
A bit late.
And the interesting changes are that there is now, instead of just like slight sexual themes, there's full-on sexual content, and instead of partial nudity, there's full-on nudity. And if you read through the description, they've added quite a bit of topless women to this game.
Oh, so you please go into some sort of... I think I've seen a part of a trailer where you actually go into a strip club, so that would explain some of that.
like a last second... I mean... Okay, this could be total conjecture, but it seems like a last-ditch effort to like throw in some like appealing content to... You know what I mean? Like, why? This guy... Again... I thought this guy was like a detective. Sure, he could be bad or good, but he was like focused on hacking. And it seems like as the game continues, he gets crazier and crazier or something, because we've got him throwing bombs into just the progression of the development. Like, he started off as like Aiden Pierce, technological, savvy detective, hacker, vigilante. And now he's throwing bombs into intersections. He's going to strip clubs. He's, hanging out with topless girls. Like, what? He's wearing weird hats.
Yeah, I mean, it was like... almost like guaranteed like a more of a serious game, but it seems to go down the whole more open world game, maybe a bit.
And I know it's VR, but we've seen those scenes of spiders and aliens and zombies, and it's just like, what? Was the main game that boring that they had to throw in all this extra stuff? I mean, I don't really, I don't want Saints Row. I want Hacker the game, or
I want something a bit more mature, I guess is the right word. Don't even make it clear what this guy is really doing now. Apparently, you get a main warehouse, and you get like a number of warehouses, which is basically the main warehouse is where he changes all his clothes and he's hacking into people's computers and getting upgrades and stuff. Apparently, but then he gets like more warehouses. I mean, how's this guy getting all this money and opportunities to get into these warehouses? And you have to find access points to like Wi-Fi hotspots, and you can steal people's money and stuff. And it's like, yeah,
I think I mean, this is again just my personal opinion, but I think he started off more focused, kind of like an Assassin's Creed character. Like, this is an assassin, he has his mission. This is this hacker vigilante, he has his mission. But it seems like as it's gone on, now he's more, like you said, a GTA character where it's like, you can do whatever you want. If you want to be crazy and bomb the world, go for it. If you want to help people, go for it. You know, they talk about the violence of stabbing people in the neck, and it's just like, what? I thought this guy was like I
thought he had like one of those like policeman pole things. You just like...
You do. There's a blackjack, but it also, in that ESRB thing, references stabbing people. So... I
thought he was against that almost. But he was more of
right.
About
that's what I thought
subduing
too.
Them, like more than stabbing people.
But again, if you look at these costume pictures, we'll drop a link in the description if you want to see these. He's got like giant guns, and he looks like he's about to rob a bank. Like,
I was like, well, I mean, have you seen that giant spider thing? That screenshot of it. It's like, that wall. It's like, what the frick is that?
What is going on? I don't know. We're a month away though, so we'll be able to see it and play it soon. Hopefully, it's one of the weirdest cycles I have ever witnessed, but it's coming to an end. And another cycle that is approaching its end is Destiny. And they have started their kind of info dump beginning this morning. I know you checked that out.
Yeah, basically they've updated the website, giving us a little bit more of a back story of like the story and the premise of the game. Also some new gameplay stuff as well about the Guardians, which I've been
Are those
reading up on.
the characters you can be?
Yeah, the Warlock, Hunter, and a Titan. Not related to Titanfall in any way, but
no, darn it.
It gives you a look at the planets as well. So
Okay.
I think it gives you Earth, Moon, Venus, which apparently you can go on now, which is weird. Because isn't Venus now just a massive cloud of nothing?
I think so, unless it's a different Venus, because there's also like planet Europa, which clearly makes...
That's Sunrise, isn't it? Is that another... I don't know what it is. I think that isn't it. What the planet is so small that that doesn't even count as a planet now, or something like that.
I don't even know. But how does it look? Does it look like they're moving along? Does it look the same as? Because basically, we've only seen that one gameplay chunk from E3 where they're fighting through sort of that darkened tunnel environment, and then they pop out, and there's this giant bug creature metal thing. Are you getting any more sense of what this game is actually going to be?
I mean, the trailers are very, very brief. I mean, they give like about a minute for each of the Guardians, and just showing some of the abilities, them shooting. Joe, like some of the sort of special abilities you can do. I think one can like teleport over somewhere else and stuff. Yeah, it just gives a bit more premise on the characters, really. But it's nothing like. I think that on the 28th is when we're going to see hopefully a serious amount of gameplay and a bit more news on the game as well. Okay.
Are you getting a like strict Halo but massive vibe, or is it more like Mass Effect-y in terms of like characters with powers in their shooting elements, or what kind of, since you've seen the characters, what kind of vibe are you getting?
It feels like a Halo to me, honestly. It feels like the way it's all constructed, but not in a bad way. I mean, it does have a different vibe, but it feels like it is Halo with more players in.
Because they do have those level up screens for the guns and for the characters, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so you can level up. I think you pick up new guns. It's almost like a Borderlands.
Oh, really?
No.
So they're throwing it all in, everything into the pot. Borderlands and Halo.
It sounds like interesting. I'm really looking forward to it and going around in like co-op mode and stuff, and it should be good. I like the fact that the planets are so freaking massive as well, apparently, which is good.
Yeah, I hope that they handle sort of the enormity of it with a little bit of linearity, like that there is a story progression to follow through. It's not just Borderlands like, hey, let's go over here and kill these guys and get this loot. I would love it if, I mean, I'm not an MMO fan, but I think it would be really cool if me and you could hop on and say, okay, we're going to Venus and we're going to tackle this giant dungeon or this giant boss. Like that would be fun, and we get a reward from it. We level up and we can kind of stick together. I think it could be just, I'm so hopeful for this game. This is more than any other game this year. Destiny is the one that I have as like my big, massive, like super fun fall experience. Like I'm putting all of my marbles into this special game.
I just think the game looks pretty impressive. I like it. It seems like every planet has its own little vibe as well.
Okay.
I think Venus has like a sort of almost like Last of Us, and the foliage is sort of attacking the sort of scenery and ruins and stuff. And you got Planet Earth, which has got like this massive wall, which we saw in that trailer, and that was like old Russia or something. And it's got a really nice vibe to it, and the fact that every planet has got its own like unique color set, where the moon's just grey, obviously, because the moon is grey. But all the buildings are grey, and it looks potentially like a very, very good game. Hopefully, I do trust Bungie. I like Bungie games. So.
Oh yeah, I think that I mean, if you're going to trust anybody to make like a cool space world, I think Bungie is where you would put your focus. Now, the beta is supposed to be coming soon. Do you have any predictions on when they drop this thing for us to check out?
Apparently, with every other previous beta, they've released it in May, but I can't imagine that happening ever.
Yeah, that seems...
I'm hoping June, fingers crossed June, because I think June's quite empty. And I think it'd be a good little time to release it. There'll be lots of coverage on it, and I think they should try and go for June. But realistically, it could be as late as August, honestly.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool like to come out of E3 and say like the beta's next week or the beta starts today.
Is that now? Yeah.
That would be really a good thing, I think, and kind of get a bunch of next-gen buzz. And it'll be interesting to see. We know that Sony is really getting a lot of backing from Destiny, or that they're trying to make it seem like a PlayStation game. So I'll be interested to see if they stagger the betas at all, or how that kind of pans out, if there's like a whole extra planet, or if it's just, you know, character skins, weapons, what the content bonus for PlayStation 4 is. A little PlayStation 4 nugget that I found very odd or troubling or worrisome, or whatever word you want to say. Beyond Director's Edition for PlayStation 4, there was a NeoGAF forum member had dug up some files that talk about a Beyond Director's Cut Edition, and cut scenes that they're putting into the Director's Cut Edition, and there's a picture of a DualShock 4 and how it would work with that. The Last of Us Remastered is cool, but...
Beyond Two Souls?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah.
Last of Us is cool. I'm glad they're redoing The Last of Us, but if Sony is just going to start filling the gaps with all these old PlayStation 3 games, I'm going to be really sad.
I keep hearing about Uncharted as well. And also, quickly, about the Destiny beta. I was thinking, isn't the beta coming to PS4 and stuff first as well?
Oh, is it? I
think it is, actually. Right? I think it's. I'm thinking E3, end of E3, Sony conference, they go, PS4 now has the beta, go play it.
That would be sweet.
I think that's what they're going to do, and that's going to... And then perhaps Uncharted 4 or something. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, Beyond, I mean...
Sorry. Yeah.
There's not really much news here. It's just... You know this is going to happen. They've talked about with Gears of War and stuff. I just think it's quite troubling. Do you think that Naughty Dog, the situation over there, is troubling? It seems like a new person leaves
every day.
Every day.
Didn't the villain go? Didn't he? The guy that was actually in the trailer, the official announcement trailer.
Right, the narration guy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been. It was the main villain in that game. And he's just gone now. So
what it sounds like to me is that with the departure of Amy over to Visceral, either they've redone this story, like Neil Druckmann came in and was like, nope, I don't like this, or they have redone the game. Like, it sounds like what it was initially visioned as is no longer, because they've gotten rid of key people in a lot of key places, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but wherever the decisions came from, it sounds like new decisions have been made for Uncharted 4.
Definitely some changes. I'm guessing it's more to do with the story-based stuff. I'm sure they're still working on the background with the engine and trying to make the graphics and stuff look perfect for the game, but I'm sure the story has been changed fundamentally, and also the characters involved will be changed. Do we have
any hope that this comes out this year? Any?
Nope.
No? I mean, they talked about The Last of Us Remastered being a great test ground for them to get familiar with the PlayStation 4. Okay. So to me, that sounds like, yeah, they are... Not like they're wrapping this thing, but like that they're just starting this thing. So, holiday 2015.
That's so long, though.
It's so long.
That's depressing.
But you got to imagine that we've seen no gameplay. So E3, you get your big gameplay reveal, and then they milk it next E3, and then they release it, holiday 2015, or even beyond, I guess. But
Beyond?
Yeah, they're releasing Beyond. Beyond and Last of Us and all of that. I really wish this game would come out this year. We've talked about how PlayStation 4, where are the exclusives? But yeah, I almost wish that they would redo the gameplay, at least add some elements. Like The Last of Us sort of had just a little twist on the typical third-person shooter with the crafting stuff. going back to just playing like Nathan Drake or whoever, Baby Drake or whatever we play, Drake the rapper, whatever Drake we play, and just firing like the pistols against waves of enemies, that's like fun, but I wish they would add a little twist.
Yeah, I mean, I reckon the story's going to be a little bit more darker, perhaps.
You think so?
But it will have the jokey, obviously, Drake in it as well. But I think it'll be a bit more of a darker story, and that's probably what they're going to go with. I'm dying for this game. Like, I honestly love the Uncharted series. I loved it since the first game, and that wasn't actually that good. But
I've never played the first one. Is the first one worth playing in any? Or does it just feel like
at
a
the
total
moment?
precursor?
You'd be like, what the hell is this game? This is controls aren't that good.
No, it feels like a first start.
Yeah, it feels very, very old, basically.
I don't remember who it was, but someone on Twitter brought up a really interesting point to me that it's kind of obvious, but it was good to consider of like, wherever you start in a series typically will be your favorite game. So, for example, like if you started with, say, Assassin's Creed, I don't know, Brotherhood, that would seem so much more inventive and so much more unique than if you had played, 1, 2, and all that. And similarly with Uncharted, like the game that they were mentioning was that they played Uncharted 3 first. And so going back to 2, even though that is considered the pinnacle of the series, it felt like a step back in a number of ways, and it felt like a retread. And just kind of interesting as we progress through the years of gaming, as we age, and different generations are, targeting new kids playing games as well as, old fans and even older fans from, the original Nintendo days, how we perceive sort of the annualization of games, like where you jump in, it affects it so much. Like, so if your first Call of Duty was Black Ops, you might not feel like it's really overdone. Or if your first Assassin's Creed was 3, you might be like so excited for Unity. Yeah. And I just thought that was a really interesting point.
I mean, to my point, it's starting to get to the point where if the Assassin's Creeds aren't impressing me, I probably won't buy the next one. Or if Call of Duty doesn't really impress me anymore, I'm not going to buy the next one again. That's how I played pretty much every one. So I'm like, I need something new now. I mean, I think Assassin's Creed may be able to deliver in some way. I mean, it looks impressive graphically, but whether it's different enough, and the fact they're taking out naval stuff as well, it's a worry for sure. I mean, it's getting to the point for me though where I have to be convinced to buy it now.
I think the good news for both Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, since you mentioned those, is that this is technically their second next-gen version. So, it's kind of second wave, and typically second wave of games are far superior and do take advantage of the hardware more. I hope that's the case. Again, typically second wave is 2 or 3 years down the line, not just, 11 months later or whatever these will end up being. So it's kind of a close call. But yeah, for us, I think playing every iteration since the beginning of the 360 era, we're kind of burned out on many of these franchises. But, for somebody who just starts, that is kind of... I just gave me a different perspective because I'm always like, please cancel Assassin's Creed, please cancel Call of Duty. But there are, I suppose, new fans that are not wanting to dive back into the old ones because it feels archaic at this point, and excited for the new ones. So, hopefully we can get a good mix of old and new at least at some point here. Nintendo, we have to talk about them. Don't give me that. Don't give me that sigh. I noticed in your freaking setup video you didn't even talk about the Wii U games, which made me so sad, so sad. But
stuck on
Nintendo has made it to the year 2005 this week because they have announced a season pass for of all games Mario Golf World Tour for 3DS.
So it's not like a Mario Kart or something. It's a golf game.
It's Mario Golf, and they're just probably I can just see them being so nervous to announce this, and they're barely like a little kid stepping its toes into the water. It's going to be 4 courses, or 3 courses, 4 courses, something like that. It's like 3 or 4 courses, 3 or 4 characters. The first one's available on the launch of the game, and then blah, blah, blah. There's a season pass. It's a great step for them. It's way too far behind. It feels like they move at the pace of a Colossus or something. I don't really understand what goes on at Nintendo. But does this give you any hope for the future of Wii U?
What, up a season pass?
Come on, they're joining the modern era of online DLC.
I need to bring out Mario Kart for me to start getting a bit excited, but I don't know. I'm not that convinced on season passes anyway. So
yeah,
I mean, I think they're dodgy sometimes.
It seems like everyone's starting to go away from season passes,
and then Nintendo joins.
We figured it out. How can you be so far behind? I mean, this is literally like
It must
it's
be dinosaurs running that company, I'm sure. It must be like old 80-year-olds with their tradition, and it's just like, oh man.
I mean, it's like if you were playing like the Xbox 360 now, like you just got it now. If like the UK was somehow 8 years behind or something.
It's not even that bad. I think it's like me recording a video in 360p or something. You know what I mean? It's
oh
like,
my god,
that's what it feels like. That's what I can compare it to.
You brought this up to me, and then I kind of looked into it a little further, and you were absolutely true that at this point in their life cycle, the Dreamcast was already canceled, but it had sold more than the Wii U, which is just.
I quite like Dreamcast when it came out. I don't know why.
Did you buy a Dreamcast?
My friend had a Dreamcast. He was like rich, I think. But
I was so excited for it. Me and my friend, we went in this weird phase where we got into like these very odd games. He wasn't like as much into the mainstream stuff. Like we sure played NBA and Madden and Mario, but we got in this weird phase. I think I was probably like, I don't know, Dreamcast, like 11-ish, 10, 11, 12 years old. And we got in this weird phase where we liked these really quirky games. And so the Dreamcast was like perfect for that. And I bought one on launch day, and I think I had like four games. Like
I like the little was it the controller with the little weird
the VMU with the screen?
Yeah. I was like, what?
Controllers back then.
Technology is this?
Controllers back then were so crazy. You had the N64 one that looks like a freaking boomerang nunchuck. The Dreamcast controller, it's like a space mobile. You're sliding these little mini screens in. They had some like good ideas, but it was a weird time for games back then. And it is interesting that Nintendo
weirder now, apparently.
Yeah, because Nintendo hasn't even sold as many, but I think the big difference is that they are sitting on so much money and that they have a multi-pronged approach. So even though the Wii U is kind of tanked hardcore, the 3DS is still strong. They have great sales on games there, and they're able to keep the company going based on their, Scrooge McDuck vault of gold. It's just weird to think what happens. When do they give up on the Wii U, and how did it go so wrong after the Wii was like one of the best-selling systems of all time?
But the Wii started plummeting before. I mean, the Wii had a good launch and it sold well and it was like impossible to get hold of. But as soon as that was over, there was like not that many games. There was like the occasional Super Mario Galaxy or something, but that was literally it. I mean, it
feels like they're just living like the same cycle over and over again.
It feels like the Wii U to come out. I was like, okay, what do I play on this? I mean, why have you given me a freaking tablet on my screen? I mean, it's very odd decision. I don't know. I reckon they thought, oh, kids are playing they like tablets, they like the iPad, they love this, and then it's just like, no, that's not how it works.
It's sort of sad to me that if you look back in the NES and the Super Nintendo eras, they were the king of games. Every company made games for their platform, and as time has gone on,
everyone's left.
I mean, N64 to GameCube to Wii and now Wii U, and it feels like it's a downward, at least in terms of like gamer credit maybe, or however you want to say it, like in the heart of gamers, like it's gone downhill. They still make, I feel, the best first-party games of any platform. Their Nintendo games are stellar, but even if they do try to revitalize their brand with a new system, it's like, how are they ever going to get out of this hole of no support?
I honestly think if they come out with a new console and it's got enough power, I honestly think people will come back. I mean,
but wasn't that the Wii U?
The Wii U did have enough power.
It had more power than the PlayStation 3 and 360 when it launched.
But it's not a next gen console, is it? It's like a freaking.
So you think it's just terrible timing that they thought they were going to capitalize on the end of the generation and ended up just screwing themselves?
I think if they came out similar time to like obviously the Xbox One and PS4 with the similar sort of specs, now they'll be doing fine now. And they're releasing like Mario titles, Zelda titles. They were doing fine as long as the controller was not a tablet. But that's what I think they need to go back to the drawing board and then just sort of rework it and come back out with a decent console and get the third parties back, personally.
So if they did a new console, just hypothetically, if they did a new console, no BS gimmicks, it was just a straight controller, very similar to the Xbox One controller, a system that was just as powerful as the PlayStation 4, a focused online system. Do you think that would lure people, or in the mind share of gamers, is it so uncool to be Nintendo that Microsoft and Sony still are going to have a huge advantage? 'Cause I feel like everything is so geared towards blood and guts and mature-rated games that Nintendo just has this, whether it's true or not, has this like aura around it of like, baby system, kids games, bright colors, stupid. Could they, if they did a parody with hardware, do you think they could overcome that?
I think they could overcome it. I mean, personally, they sell games, they sell well. The games do sell well, so don't they? So Mario Kart will still sell millions of copies. I just think perhaps they need to. I mean, I think they also need like another, not a Wiimote, but something that sort of gets people talking as well. That makes gamers want to come back.
So that goes back to a gimmick then, and
a good gimmick though,
again.
A very very good gimmick. I mean, the one that works, and then that we just love. So I don't know.
I think it'd be very interesting because I personally would love it, but in terms of like if you're a high schooler and you're like, oh, I got the new Nintendo, I feel like people be like, why didn't you buy a PS4? Why didn't you buy an Xbox One?
I mean, for me, for example, my little shelf has a PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, and PS3. Underneath my table, which is hidden, is a Wii U. I mean,
so sad.
Which is one reason because it's white, but that's just no factor. But I don't know.
I think that they should release a new system that is on par with the PS4, just call it the Nintendo, drop these goofy names, and gear it towards hardcore with like a new Metroid, it doesn't have to be like mature rated, but a dark focused Zelda, and try to really make a play. I think they've given up on the fact that, oh, we can't get those gamers anymore. We have to get the nostalgic gamers. We have to get the family gamers. What I'd like to see them just...
They can get them back, though, honestly. I think they can.
Yeah, they have enough money, like, just go all out once. Just try it. I mean... They never will, I don't think, because of the way that their company's structured, but it would be so interesting to see if Nintendo was like, game on. Like, we're going to take our big pile of money, we're going to lock up some exclusives, and we're going to really challenge the guys over at Sony. And, like, I think it would be...
Didn't Ubisoft, like, lose money on launch, though? Like, a big amount of money on Zombie U and some other game, I can't remember what it's called now. On the Wii U, they lost a lot of money, didn't they, from development?
Yeah, they blew a ton because they were really behind the Wii U at the start. Yeah. And now, you know, like the Watch Dogs version isn't even coming out on Wii U.
But it's coming out later, isn't it? I thought it's coming out August.
In the fall or something. The Zombie U is a great game. It's sad that they couldn't make another one because it had really cool ideas. It's probably, like, besides the Mario titles, it's probably the best game on Wii U, and a real great departure for Ubisoft instead of the typical Assassins, blah, 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 open world stuff. But yeah, they lost so much money that they couldn't justify the support. And it's like, again, we know it's that vicious cycle of like, we don't have support, so people don't want to make games on it, and then people don't want to make games on it, so we don't have the sales numbers to have the support. And like, if they don't get it right on day one, like, forget it, they're done. Like, they have to hit it right on the head. Otherwise, it's a sad, sad tale. How's your tortoise doing? That's what I want to know. Screw all this game stuff.
My tortoise is doing pretty good. Let's have a quick look. Just out in the garden, just walking around.
Does he stay outside then?
Yes. Well, he hibernates from sort of October, well, winter time basically. Whole of winter he'll be asleep.
But does he go in the house ever, or is he just outside tortoise?
Like super cold, like randomly, it'll be inside.
Okay.
Generally, it'll be outside. He's got like a little house. He just comes out. Lettuce, sort of bananas,
nice
stuff like that. Yeah.
So basically, like what you'd feed me. So if I ever need a place to stay, I'm just gonna come sit in your garden and wait for some food, some bananas. I have bananas and lettuce pretty much every day, so I would be
same really.
I would be a happy camper. I hope you guys are happy campers and enjoyed this podcast. If you did, smash that like button. Let us know your thoughts on Nintendo, where they're going, on Watch Dogs, what do you think it's going to be like, Destiny, are you as hyped as we are, and all the other things we talked about today, including the Batman DLC, the Call of Duty graphical nonsense, and Evolve. Scott, thanks for being here.
No problem. It was good fun.
Absolutely. Guys and girls, follow us on Twitter. You can find Game Riot at twitter.com/GameRiotArmy, where he will post pictures of his tortoise and bananas. And what else do you post over there?
Just general gaming stuff, generally.
It's a really good place, I think, to get all of our opinions in bite-sized format. I'm at twitter.com/GhostRobo, and we really try, both of us, I think, to reply to our fans as much as we can and update people on our thoughts. So when this big Destiny gameplay thing happens, we will be talking about it. When the Watch Dogs trailer drops, we'll be talking about it. And I think both of us do make a very big effort to chat with you guys on there. So if you're not following us already, go do that. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this podcast and want more of them. We're still working out if we're going to drop it on iTunes or what is going to happen with that, but you will know soon. And until that time, guys and girls, thanks so much for watching. Fantastic day. Drink some hot chocolate, and we will see you all later. Later.